Welcome everybody to episode 7 of The Pulse. I'm here with Cailey, and Cailey has the great honor of you're the last one of the year, and we're getting ready to go into summer. So all of our folks are taking field trips, and they're doing the end of the year tests and things like that. So I'd say a lot of our students and even our teachers are ready for the summer.
Oh yeah.
Are you ready for the summer?
I'm pretty ready.
Okay. Well, we're going to ask some questions just about school and how your year has gone, but then I'll ask you about your summer plans and all that good stuff too. But Cailey, I don't know much about you. The folks in Wise County don't know much about you either. Do you mind just telling me a little bit about yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Go right ahead. Go right ahead whenever you're ready. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm an 8th grader at St. Paul Elementary, going into high school next year. I enjoy spending free time with friends, collecting pins, and I love listening to music. I also like sketching and painting sometimes.
Okay. What type of music?
I love heavy metal, actually.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get back to that in a minute, okay, about heavy metal. But, okay, you've had a whole, your career has been at St. Paul, I guess, the whole time. Maybe you've been there the whole time, and you're getting ready to transition to high school. Tell me what your thoughts are of getting ready to go to high school. Have you got to visit Eastside at all?
Not yet,
okay.
But I'm sure at the very first day of school and whatnot, they're going to show us our classes and everything, so I feel pretty prepared for that.
If I'm not mistaken, I think your mom said you're skipping the tour maybe to come interview with me? Okay, all right. I got you. So, but you've been there before, right?
Yes.
Okay. What type of extracurricular activities are you involved in or have you been involved in?
I usually do one act in forensics, and I hope to do it for the rest of my high school, like my whole high school.
Mm-hmm.
But I also do Scholastic Bowl whenever that usually comes around, but that's really about it for right now.
Okay. Well, you're going to a school that has a rich tradition in about, every one of the, activities that you mentioned. What are some of the subjects that you are most interested in? You talked about not liking algebra a second ago, but is there any subject that really interest you?
I really like science and history mainly. I just like learning about the past, like things that have been like world wars, cold wars, and just whatnot. I love learning about that stuff.
Okay. Well, I like history too. I was more of an English person, which that's kind of tough for some folks. But you're getting ready to transition out of, I guess, what you call middle school, right? What has been the most memorable experience for you so far? I mean, I know once you get to high school, there's a lot of fond memories that are on the horizon. But what's been one of your more memorable moments of school so far?
Mainly just the field trips.
Okay.
Those are what I can mainly just visualize clearly in my head. But I also love the teachers. They have always just been so good with education and with the kids and everything. And I feel like they're going to do really, really well in the future. Yeah.
So the teachers have been really supportive of you.
Yeah.
St. Paul's a really, really good school, really tough academic school.
Yes.
Let me ask you this question. Your principal, Dr. Dickinson, right? Pretty tough sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Maybe got kind of strict. But let's say that Cailey was allowed to be principal for one day at St. Paul. What's one rule you would change? You'd be like, look, this is going to be Cailey's rule at St. Paul.
Probably like the no gum rule. I've never really understood that. I mean, I understand that usually kids will make a mess out of it, but I've never really understood why there are some kids where you can actually just trust them with about everything, and then you just don't give them gum. I don't really understand that much.
Well, rules are very important, but also there's always going to be somebody that kind of, tries to toe across the line of the rule or something like that,
Yeah.
Tell me at least one interesting thing that you've learned lately, and that can be in or out of school. You talked about painting and you talked about collecting pins. It could be school related. What's one thing that you've learned recently that you found interesting?
Probably just mainly history stuff, like the Roaring '20s.
Okay.
We've been learning about that lately. That I love just history a lot.
Do you like the clothing? Do you like the music? Which one is it with the Roaring '20s?
I really just kind of like the experience, like how everything was going on and then how the Great Depression kind of just followed afterwards.
Yeah. Well, the clothing would have got the men's clothing. Guys were always dressed to the T, and guys don't really dress like that anymore.
No.
Women don't wear the flag. I guess they were called flappers. Is that what they were?
Yeah.
Women don't dress like that anymore either. But it's an interesting time in history. Let me ask you this. As you're getting ready to transition into high school, do you have any personal goals? Like, okay, my name's Cailey, getting ready to be a freshman. These are my goals for the next few years.
Hoping to increase my grades even more, even though that I'm usually an all-A student and sometimes will get a B maybe every 9 week or something. I feel like I should maybe try and get my grades up more. That way I'm not getting B's every once in a while. It's more of an all-A student, hopefully.
Do you stress over stuff like that? Like if you get a B, are you like, oh man,
It just depends usually.
Yeah. I got you. My son, it doesn't bother him any. He's just kind of like take it or leave it. It doesn't really bother him. But I'm going to ask you a question that I've asked about everybody that has been on this podcast. And I think it's important. But how do you define success? Like Cailey, to you, what is success?
I see success as something that you are talented at, and maybe even good at for sure, and then if you can do it well, mainly.
Yeah. Despite, right? Sometimes it's successful folks, people want to see them fail. So sometimes you have to succeed despite what other people think, right?
Yeah.
Very, very good answer. Very good answer. I ask this question a lot too. I'm kind of older, okay? I'm older, all right? You don't have to agree with that. I'm not that old, right? Okay. No, but how do you stay informed? Like if Cailey's like, man, I really want to learn more about the Roaring Twenties, or I want to learn about a new band that is out there, where do you go for information?
I usually just deep dive into it. I can get I'll just get anything I can get my hands on. Usually I'll search things up, look it up on YouTube. I'll just do whatever I can to usually.
Yeah.
And whenever I do look for something, I'll look for it as best as I can.
Right. So YouTube is where you kind of would go. I mean, I do that if I'm working around my house and I can't figure out how to do something. I might YouTube it to learn how to maybe fix something. What's maybe a recent trend or topic in the world that you find fascinating?
Nothing that I really know of right now, but something might come in my head, but so far I can't really think of anything.
Have you heard the question that has been floating around about, can one gorilla take out 100 men? Do you think one gorilla can take out 100 men?
Probably not.
You don't think so?
Especially if these men had some sort of tool or something.
Okay. No tools, no weapons.
Oh, no weapons?
No weapons. Bare hands, yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. One thing that's very important to me, and you're in a community that is very strong. I feel like the Eastside community is very supportive of their students. What do you think the role of community plays in a student's life?
Usually communities help each other out, so that's for sure. And if you're struggling in something, then they're going to be right there to help you.
That's good. And at Eastside, they're very good, especially if you're involved with One Act, that type, that community there can be a community within a community, based on what you do. Before I get to any fun and creative questions, did you have any questions for me? We usually let the student ask me some questions, and did you come prepared with any questions?
Yeah, I have about 3 of them.
Okay,
so.
I hope they're not too hard. They're not about algebra.
No, they're not.
Okay.
No.
All right.
When you were in school, were you ever with anyone famous growing up?
With anybody famous?
Yeah.
Oh, man. No, I was not. Of course, gosh, that's a really good question. No, unfortunately, no. No, I will say the big deal, I guess, when I was growing up, and I wasn't in school with them, but, the movie Coal Miner's Daughter, everybody was talked about how Coal Miner's Daughter was filmed out here at the Wise County Fairgrounds.
Really?
You ever seen Coal Miner's Daughter before?
I don't think so.
It's a movie. You need to check it out. It's a little bit older, but again, that was even before my time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was even before my time.
Okay. And I have 2 more, if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So, Do you think bullying is worse today than it was in your time?
I've had this conversation with the folks up here in my office and even with some of my friends that I went to school with. I think kids are nicer today. I really do. Because we talked about even people from other towns. You probably have friends from other towns, don't you?
Yeah.
When I was growing up, if they weren't from my town, I really didn't know them. Does that make sense? Like, you guys have social media, so you're able to kind of get a glimpse into somebody else's life or, how they're growing up. So I would have to say, I think, and I do have 2 children, I think that kids are a little bit nicer than they were when I was in school.
Okay. And then my last question is, did you ever do any sports whenever you were in school, and if so, what?
Yeah, I did. When I was growing up, I played about everything. But once I got to high school, I played basketball and I ran track. I was in a play one time. I know that's an extra, but I'm not very good at acting or singing at all. And my career did not last very long with that. So, very good questions. Very good questions. Got some fun questions, and that's what we'll kind of end up in. But let's go back to, you said you liked heavy metal. Is that what you said? Okay. So what's your definition of heavy metal? Who's heavy?
I like to listen to Rammstein a lot, which is a German band.
Correct.
I like Motley Crue.
Okay.
I love just like a whole bunch of the 80s, 90s stuff, while also some current
How'd
metal.
you get into that?
My dad.
Okay.
He would play it like anytime I was around, in the car, anything, my entire life.
Yeah. So you just kind of got into it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, your dad seems like a good guy. It seems like a good guy. Plans for this summer? Any big plans? Going to camp? Anything like that? Going on vacation?
We're going to Myrtle Beach next Sunday.
Okay. I'm going to give you one piece of advice I tell everybody, okay? Wear sunscreen. Okay?
Yeah.
Wear sunscreen. I definitely have to wear sunscreen. But, all right. Would you rather have to sing everything you say or dance everywhere you go?
Probably dance.
Dance?
Yeah.
You a pretty good dancer?
No, not really.
Me neither. If animals could talk, which animal would be the rudest?
Probably a possum.
Well, they are mean, aren't they? I mean, they're pretty mean. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. We've already established that I'm a lot older than you are, okay? And I'm out of touch. I'm just this old man, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you questions about the 1900s. You mentioned the 1920s, but I'm going to bring this more kind of like to the late 1990s, okay?
All right.
What is a Motorola Razr?
Isn't that a phone?
Very good answer. I did not know if you'd get that or not. Yes, that was one of my first phones. What is a Slinky?
A Slinky is like one of those metal, like compressed metal. I can't really explain it, but I used to have one when I was younger.
Okay. You're 2 for 2 so far. Let me see if I can get you on this third one, okay? Can you name one of the members? Now, this is not in your wheelhouse because you like heavy metal, but can you name one of the members of the band TLC?
I've never heard of them.
Okay. All right. I got you. I at least got one. I got you to miss one question there. 2 out of 3 is not bad at all. Well, Cailey, it was really good to meet you. You'll probably see me around when you get to Eastside next year, okay? Yeah. I hope you have a great summer. I hope all of our students in Wise County have a great summer, and next school year will be here before we know it.
Yeah. But just one more week.
One more week, a few more days. But thank you so much for stopping by.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and it was really good to get to know you, okay?
You too.
Thank you all.